Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Right Services YouTube channel. Today, I'm here with Becky Muth, who has created this great masterclass for the Author Transformation Alliance called Graphic Design Hacks for Social Media. And this is all about helping authors, shorten the learning curve on Canva specifically, and with graphic design in general, in order to make their social media graphics better, faster. So thank you so much for joining me, Becky. I know your camera's broken, so what we'll do is, can you just start off by sharing a little bit about who you are and what you do currently?
Hi, Audrey. Thanks for having me. My name is Becky Muth, and I first started doing graphics back in college in the early 90s. I was just enthralled by what could be done, and at the time, it was just basically the equivalent of MS Paint. Several years ago, I bit the bullet and I bought the Photoshop program on the CD, which is great because even though they went to a subscription service, I can still use it. And I just started using online tutorials to, just kind of self-taught the whole time. And there are a lot of great tutorials out there. But now Adobe has the Photoshop subscription program, which is kind of pricey. So fortunately, there is an alternative called Canva. And when I first discovered this a couple years ago through a client, I was like, wow, this is like all the basics right here for free. Upload your own photos. I liked it so much. I got Canva for work. And it is really, in addition to my writing, which, I'm an author, self-published, and also published, I guess a hybrid, published through traditional too. And it's really brought back my graphics, and I've been able to start doing graphics for people again with the programs that Canva offers.
Awesome. And then I'm glad you brought that up because you're also an author, and graphics are so important to catching attention on social media, especially if you're self-marketing. So and this is why we enjoy this class so much. So how did you get started recently in doing graphics for authors?
I saw that a lot of the authors that I follow, they were having trouble creating Facebook ads or creating their Facebook covers. Just the other day, I saw one person on Facebook, they were complaining that nobody was following their page. And I sent them a message. I'm like, have you thought about going to Canva and just making a Facebook cover? Because their Facebook cover was literally the front and back cover of their book, the same thing they would upload to CreateSpace or wherever. And the problem with that is it's not fit. It's not the same size as the Facebook cover. So it was miscropped, it was misaligned. You couldn't read hardly any of the text because it was out of proportion, and it was just not attractive. And I was not following his page either, and that was probably the reason why, because the Facebook cover didn't catch my attention. It looks very amateurish. So I saw that that's a big problem that a lot of authors have, is that they need to help getting their Facebook page, getting their brand together. And a lot of them are on a tight budget like me. And so I wanted to show authors that they can do this. The tools are there. And whether they're self-published, traditionally published, if they're hybrid and have books and like both types of publishing, whatever it is, they're going to be responsible for their own marketing unless they can hire a publicist.
Yes.
And that's just how it is. I have friends who have been traditionally published their whole careers and have written dozens and dozens of books, and they're still responsible for the bulk of their marketing.
Yes.
So
awesome. Well, that's definitely, I'm all about that. So,
yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the masterclass that you created for the Author Transformation Alliance?
In the masterclass I wanted to give a little bit more in-depth as to how to create really visually appealing graphics without, without having to have a 4-year degree in graphic design. And so I went through things like, contrast and cropping and little tricks you can do to really, catch the reader's attention. Because when they're scrolling through Instagram or they're scrolling through Facebook, after a while, all those memes, they start to look alike.
Yes.
And what your goal as an author should be to make the graphic that makes them stop and read, and want to click on it, or answer your call to action.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah. What I love about this is that this is being recorded after the graphics design class has been released, and after our Q&A, which is recorded, is already posted as well, because in the Q&A, you went into some more stuff, these amazing tricks to get effects that you wouldn't think you can get on Canva. And they're actually really easy to do.
Yeah.
So it taught us so much about how to, go to the next level with our graphics and really come off like professionals, because, and this from working with me, but one thing I'm, big on is making sure that if, you act like a professional, you step into the role and the shoes of a professional if you want that professional income, if you want that professional result. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I see from your graphics is you give that professional polish to like Margaret Locke's graphics and to her profile, her Facebook cover, her ads. They just look like something a traditional publisher would put out, which is why it's stunning. It is gorgeous. So it really does look like top shelf marketing. And what I love about this class that you did for us is that you empower all authors to, take it up to that level. So what was your favorite part of creating this masterclass?
I think my favorite part was narrowing down, like, what are the most important parts and what is the fluff that I could leave out. Because as you saw, like during the Q&A, I was like, oh, and there's this, but wait, there's more. And there was like, so I really like being able just to nail down those primary concepts of graphic design and, using my author skills to give just enough information so that, whoever is taking the class, they can read it. They won't hopefully not feel overwhelmed. And the textual content will be useful to them in creating the visual graphics.
Yes, it was awesome because it's a combination of text in your masterclass, but also videos and demonstrations and things like that. So that was so helpful. And then, what advice do you have for authors who are watching this right now, how they can take their game up to the next level? And, maybe a little bit of mindset. I like to always include mindset from, my guest experts for the YouTube channel. So people out there who are watching this can say, can come away with not just the hard skills, but, perhaps something to add to their emotional or mental skills, their toolbox to improve their resilience and improve their positive mindset and feel more comfortable putting themselves out there on social media and putting their work out there.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Really, just find the authors that you want, who are your role models, the ones who are your idols, and look at their social media and don't plagiarize what they're doing, but emulate what they're doing. You could have a brand that's similar but still unique to you by using similar color schemes or similar elements of design, like placement of your logo with your name, that kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And just see, read what their what the description on their graphics, because that's important too. See what hashtags they're using. See what their followers are saying. If their followers are saying, we want more of this, you give them more of that.
Yes, exactly. Looking for those posts with high engagement,
right.
And then seeing what concept, was it Was it a question?
Yeah.
Was it a lead up to their next novel, their
Yep.
next upcoming novel, or what exactly
Spoiler.
is that
Yeah.
post about that got so much engagement and got people
Mm-hmm.
to react a lot or to comment or to share? Especially that's huge,
Yeah.
because we want to go viral.
Oh,
That's how we
yeah.
get the best exposure. And so, yeah, seeing what those big guys do or did, or their social media managers are doing, that is getting those attention, and then saying, okay, how can I make this concept of asking a question or talking about my novel or including an excerpt or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, and then graphically design that, as well as say, okay, their caption is formulated like, okay, X does Y.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, readers? Something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yep. Definitely. Yep.
Awesome.
And just also, like, just see what kind of content, like you said, see what kind of content gets the most, engagement. Like, is it a question? Is it bonus content? Is it a link to something on their webpage? Like, a friend of mine right now is just sent out her newsletter, and one of the graphics is really gorgeous, and it says, "Get the first 3 chapters of my next book here." And if that was just in the newsletter text without that graphic, I may have missed it completely. But
Yes.
now, I've seen, that really gorgeous graphic. Now I just got to read a sneak peek of her new book, which isn't even coming out until August. So,
That's fantastic, and
yeah.
that's a great point too. Is these graphics aren't just good for social media like Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
Twitter, and Instagram. They're also good for our email list. So when we're
Yeah.
sending out that boring old newsletter, which I hate calling a newsletter
Yeah.
anyway, but when you're sending that stuff out, it doesn't have to be blah and boring. You can highlight some really special stuff with some phenomenal graphics, and with Canva, tools like Canva. And I
Oh,
have a
yeah.
whole list actually in the June course
Mm-hmm.
for the Author Transformation Alliance. I have a whole list of different websites where you can get free pictures that are free for commercial use without
Awesome.
attribution required, and an entire list of browser-based programs like Canva that are free to use.
Yeah.
So there's like so many options out there.
There
We are
are.
really in this golden age of opportunity where we don't have to invest so much like we would have had to 20 years ago
Oh,
to market ourselves as authors, right?
yeah. Even 3 years ago, like, I don't even want to tell
Yeah.
you how much, like, what I paid for Photoshop. I'm not sure my book sales have hit that. This, like, like, in the time since, I'm not sure I've had enough book sales to pay for it. But I've had enough graphics jobs to pay for it, definitely.
Yes. Yeah.
But another thing, just one last thing, in the workshop, I think I used Instagram as my default size
Yes.
because I know you and I use Instagram a lot,
Yes.
and but the advice and the all the information, it can be applied to any size graphic.
Yeah, so they are fundamental core concepts that you're
They are.
explaining. It's not just for social media, for your
Right.
list, for Instagram size, for Twitter. No,
Oh,
these are
yeah.
the core graphic design concepts that most
Yep.
people, like average people like me, don't know because we don't have that graphic design background. So instead of taking the long road and figuring out the hard way, we can just
Yep.
refer to your course and be like, oh, okay, I get it. What is like the biggest tip or trick you have for people like that they can implement today to start seeing a massive shift in the quality of their graphics?
Once you create your graphic, sit back and squint at your computer screen, and if you can't see the text, like if the text is not easily readable, then you might need to change the color, or you might need to, like, put a drop shadow behind it, something, or like even like a geometric shape behind it and a contrasting color to help bring out that text. Because if the text gets lost on the image, people are going to scroll on by. They're not going to, when they're scrolling through, you see their thumb going over their phone, they're not going to stop on something that's hard to read.
Exactly. Like it could
So,
be a phenomenal excerpt, but if people
right.
can't easily read it.
Yep.
And yeah, that is a really important point to bring up when we're thinking about creating graphics. That this is often done on a desktop computer, like a laptop or a
Yeah.
desktop PC. But the problem is most social media use, even checking email occurs on the phone. So you have to think about when people are on their phone and they feel rushed, they feel like there's so much information, too much for them to consume in the time that they have. We have to capture their attention with great graphics. And do you feel like that's a problem you see constantly, like word walls or text that can't be read over the image, like if it's a picture?
Yep. One thing I've learned to do is, and even during my last NaNoWriMo book, I was guilty of word walls because I was only sharing it on my Facebook author page. But then when I started to share on Instagram, I thought, man, nobody's going to be able to read this because the text is so small, and they're not going to take the time to zoom in and slide back and forth.
Yeah.
So what I learned was just post the first couple sentences and use to put the rest in the description or a link to my webpage or my blog.
Yeah, like in the caption. Yeah.
Right. Or excerpts make great blog posts, and I don't even have to think about it because I already wrote it.
They also make great freebies to get people on your email list and then get them hooked anyway to the book to send them to your Amazon page. That's all fun stuff.
Yep. Yes. Make the excerpt not an opt-in page.
Exactly. So. And that is really, but we have to capture their attention first. We have to stand out from the crowd, right?
Yep. Yeah. If you don't stand out, people are just gonna swipe them by.
Yeah, exactly. So the big tip, the big takeaway here is to perhaps reduce the amount of words on the graphic or image. Drop a shape behind it, even if it's semi-transparent, so that it stands out from the image, right?
Right.
To make sure the font color contrasts that background, and that the font size is maybe increased because so people can easily read it when they're scrolling on their phones.
And the font style, because if you have a really busy background and a really thin font, it's gonna be hard to see. But if you have a block font, something boxy, it's easier. So, but if you have something real pale, I know some of yours, you have that real pale with the flowers, the thin fonts are really gorgeous. They show up beautifully on those.
I love the thin fonts. Josephine Sans is my favorite.
And you can always make I know Canva and other programs probably too, but there's that little slider at the top right hand corner where you can make the background transparent.
Yes.
And that sometimes helps read the font better too.
Yes, that's right. That's right. You can change the color and then change the transparency. Yes. And then do you have maybe your a favorite sans and a favorite handwritten font on Canva specifically that people could
Canva specifically, I really like Great Vibes. I know I use that on a lot of Margaret Lock stuff.
Yes.
And let's see, for the I like the one you said,
Josephine Sans. Yes, I love that one. It's just so clean, but it's pretty. It's not too feminine, but it is, it works for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Awesome.
And let's see. I really I'm scrolling through real quick. I like Allura. That was nice.
Yeah. That is a pretty one.
ClickerScript, but I have to be careful with that one because it's so girly and feminine with all the little extra swirls.
Yes, very loopy.
It is. And some of them are just, so to me, I think I look at them and I think a certain genre.
Yeah.
I know there's one that in the workshop I said, I would totally use that for a sci-fi novel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like Great Vibes, and I like Merriweather as an alternative to Times New Roman.
Yeah.
And Playfair Display. And then for just a regular, Roboto.
Oh, really?
Yep, I really like Roboto, mainly because some of these you'll click on it and you'll see that you do not have the option to bold or italicize the font.
Yes. Yeah.
But on Roboto you can, and they have Roboto and Roboto condensed, so the letters are a little more narrow.
Okay.
And which helps if you have a long title.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and then you can still, put it in italics or bold.
Yes. And then what do you think about layouts real quick? Is that like a good place for authors who like if you're spending too much time on your graphics, is layouts maybe a good way to go? And then actually as a side question before you talk about that, what is too much time on one graphic when an author is just trying to create something for their social media or their email newsletter?
If you have time to just play around with graphics, I would say nothing more than like half an hour if you're just playing around. But me, I try to get my graphics done in under 10 minutes. I try to aim for 5 if I can. And that's where layouts really, really comes in handy, because I can just pick a graphic. And because I have Canva for work, I have the magic resize.
Yes.
So I can actually take a layout from like the Facebook post, they all different layouts, the cards, the ads, the presentations. And I can take that, one of the free layouts from the Facebook post and change it into Instagram size and still, have the same look that I want. And all I do is I upload whatever picture I want and slide it over their example. The filter stays the same. So like if they have a filter that's like navy blue or pale purple or white, whited, a little white out, it's still there. And because they have already matched they have already paired text, like a scripted text with a sans serif text, or, they already have them the right size. They already have them, so like the scale is already there, the position, and I don't have to think about any of that. I can just change the heading, change the details, change the picture, and I get the same general effect, and I just move on because my schedule, as you know, it's always crazy.
Exactly.
And my to-do list is never ending. So
yes.
Yeah.
And mine too. And that's why I'm so glad you showed us all this stuff, especially because I never felt comfortable with layouts before I watched your masterclass. And then after watching your masterclass, something just like clicked and I was like, oh wait, that's so much easier than doing it, from scratch, and especially as authors, we don't want to spend all of our time, one, doing social media. That is a job in itself. And then creating all the graphics for it. That is another really important aspect that a lot of people spend too much time on. And that's actually why I recommend to people that they use a browser-based program like Canva or something similar, rather than Photoshop, because in Photoshop, you can get down to the pixel. And, many of us are perfectionists, and then that means we'll never get anything done. So I love that you give like a 5 to 10 minute, and with layouts that really does help phenomenally well. And then just plug for Canva because we love it so much. How much is Canva for work, and what do you say are the biggest benefits for self-marketing authors?
I want to say, I don't know if it's $9.99 or like $12.99, but it's definitely under $15 a month, and which I think that's really in line with what Adobe charges, but it's less overwhelming. And let me tell you, the customer service on Canva kicks Adobe's butt.
Yes,
like from coast to coast, because I was just butting heads with it. Like the last 2 months that I had my Adobe membership, I just butted heads with them so much over, oh, well, the fine print, blah, blah, blah. We have to charge you this and extra. And it just got to be a big nightmare. And with Canva, there's one price for everything.
Yeah.
You get all access. And their customer service is some of the best I've ever encountered, like across any company anywhere. They are very responsive. Their responses are like really quick. And I have seen a couple suggestions. I know I'm probably not the only person who made the suggestion, but they are they're very receptive to suggestions, and they put them in place. And when you make a suggestion, they send you like an email back saying, hey, thanks for your suggestion. And
Yeah.
But yeah, their customer service is awesome.
Actually pay attention and implement the
They
things
do,
that the users recommend they should
right?
implement.
They
Yeah,
listen to their users and they respond. And yeah,
that's
yep. And
fantastic.
any authors or anybody listening to this, no matter what company you're in, no matter what genre you write in, regardless, you could, take a lesson from Canva with their customer service, because, just respond and just respond in like a timely manner, and people really do appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And then what kind of last message would you have for our authors listening, whether they're traditionally or self-published, if they're in charge of their own marketing? What advice at this point, especially being, a published, multiply published author like yourself, what advice do you have for them?
just general advice, or
General and maybe a touch of graphics.
um let's see, if you hire a book cover designer, don't be afraid to ask them if you can have access to their stock photos. Sometimes they'll say yes. They may have a charge involved if they had to pay for them.
Yes.
Or go to Pixabay and look for something similar. So, a site like that or Upsplash, or some, other thing with free, with
Yes.
free stock photos, because a lot of times people, they won't notice that it's not exactly the same. Like when I was doing some of Margaret Lock's, I found, like, for her new book that just came out 2 days ago, The Demon Duke, which is amazing. It's great. I got to beta read it. It was awesome.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah.
I just bought it. It's on my
Yeah.
to be read list. So
And
I
so
pre-ordered because I wanted
yeah.
to boost her pre-orders.
Yeah, it's really good. I think it's her best one yet.
Ooh.
It just, the characters, they go through so much, and you really feel for them. But I'm getting off topic. But
Sorry.
yeah, like, I knew that it was a Regency, and there weren't a lot of backgrounds like that. So what I did was I looked for, empty room with specific types of wallpaper, and I just put them together for the backgrounds for her,
Yeah.
her promo ads. And it just, some of them just, there was one, it was a ballroom. And I think all the text says is, like, Cinderella had her Prince Charming, but Lady Grace Mattersley has the Demon Duke.
Yes.
Or
no, Cinderella can keep her Prince Charming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the best. I love that.
So yeah,
that's awesome.
But yeah, just don't be afraid to, like, or like, if you're writing a murder mystery, or like a book that takes place at the beach, it doesn't matter if it doesn't match the book cover. If it takes place at the ocean, put a picture of the ocean in the background.
Yeah.
If you have Phyllis Duncan, her new one, A War of Deception, it starts out on a rainy night in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So for her promo graphic, I have her book sitting on a wooden shelf, and then it looks like a window behind it with the rainy street of New York City behind it. And she was like, "That's the one." So yes. It's just, even though it doesn't match her book cover, and because it's dark and her book cover is very light, it really brought out the book cover.
Right, that contrast again.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it just really made it pop, and she liked it.
Fantastic. So. Yes, the graphics are phenomenal. Thank you so much. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Viewers, if you have any questions, pop them below. Make sure you check out the links in the description, as we'll be posting links to Becky's website and her social media links, as well as the Author Transformation Alliance. So if you want to check that out, you can learn more about it and see if it's something that's right for you at this stage in your career. So, but definitely check out our links and post any questions below. We'll be monitoring to make sure we answer everyone's questions. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.